Hello, I'm Joyce Bernstein of the Highland Park Senior Producers. And first of all, I'd like to thank our director, Ron Levitsky, and also the crew, Larry Beyer, Julian Martinson, Irv Valenka, and Gilda Lesser. And our other producers and hosts today are Suzanne Canman of the Canman's Roundtable and Pam Chill of Chill Out with Pam, and I'm from 30 Minutes with Joyce. And we're going to talk about impeachment today. Welcome, Suzanne. Welcome, Pam.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you, Joyce.
You're welcome.
Glad to be here.
And, well, we're going to start with, is the impeachment inquiry a win for the Democrats or the Republicans? That's a big question now.
Well, I think it's going to be a win. I think that everyone that I know I spoke to, and I think Pam feels the same way, and also some of your people, and we even talked today. As we had lunch today. And we even asked the owner of Bluegrass what she felt about, the impeachment. And everybody, I don't want to talk about it. It's so frustrating. No one wants to, really be around it.
Like
they don't want even
enough already.
Enough is enough. They wanted people to get back to business. And I think it's just really going to hurt the Democratic Party. I think it's going to be kind of a win for the Republicans. And I just want to point out something that I think is really important here, because we were talking at lunch about Andrew Yang on impeachment, and he's the Democratic presidential candidate that's running in the Democratic Party. And Andrew Yang on impeachment said, Democratic President, he feels that it's been ineffective and may ultimately increase Donald Trump's re-election chances. It seems, he says, like we can do is throw ineffective rocks at Donald Trump, and then it ends up leading, unfortunately, toward his re-election. And as he feels he's pro-impeachment, but this is going to be a loser, Yang said. And because he says you need literally dozens of Republican senators to switch sides when the trial starts, which we've gotten zero indication is going to happen.
Yeah, that's very true. As far as that goes there, Mr. Yang only has 2.6% in national polls, if anybody's interested. Anyways.
But he has kind of the millennial vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's a younger guy, and he's got the millennials that really like him.
Yeah.
A lot of innovative ideas.
Yes.
A lot of progressive ideas.
Yeah, that's
yes.
very true.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If they end up voting.
Yeah.
Statistically, it shows that they do.
Yeah,
vote.
a friend of mine
Right.
said this is like a comedy show now. What's on? Who did I say it was like?
Like a Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer show. Yeah. Anyway, Trump is alleged to have abused the power of his office by putting personal political gain over national security interests, engaging in bribery, withholding nearly $400 million in military aid Congress had approved for Ukraine, and then obstructing Congress, stonewalling the investigation. Trump's actions reached the Constitution's thresholds of bribery or other high crimes and misdemeanors. What do either of you have to say about that?
There's hearsay and then there's factual evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And, are these impeachable crimes? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, does anyone really know? There's a lot of investigation. There's a lot of evidence. I think evidence has only been presented on one side.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a lot of disgruntled ex-employees who do have, grievances against the administration. Not just President Trump, but the entire administration as well.
Right.
So and then there is some hearsay evidence. So who knows? I mean, we don't know.
That's true.
Yes.
What do you think?
I was going to. What we could actually, I'm just looking what constitutes an impeachable offense. And the founders intentionally kept the term high crimes and misdemeanors vague because impeachment is meant to be a political act, not a legal one. Unlike in criminal law, there is no clear rules for evaluating when a president has stepped over the constitutional line. And exactly, it said that I got that Hamilton would not impeach Trump because he doesn't feel the framers wanted an independent president who could be removed only for genuine wrongdoing. So they agreed to a criteria that became part of the Constitution: treason, briberies, and high crimes and misdemeanors. And this is, as far as I can see, is not a high crime and misdemeanor. Especially not a high crime. You know, actually, what is a misdemeanor? You know, that's kind of what.
Very vague.
That's kind of vague.
Yes,
you
it's
kind of
kinda
know what a
vague,
high crime is. I mean, if he went and he shot Melania, you know, his wife, that would be a high crime.
Melania,
but
yeah.
what is a
Or
misdemeanor? You know.
Or Barron.
Yeah, and it was interesting that they said that a man that was one of the people that were, they had an outdoor dining experience, one of the, I have to remember his name, he answered the phone, or he called President Trump during a dining experience outside. He was having lunch with 3 people, and he overheard the president on the phone talking about this, and not the man that was actually dialing the phone, not on the phone, but people around the table. And just recently, I went out with a friend, and we had lunch, and she got a call from her doctor, and I could hear his voice was pretty loud. And I was in a quiet restaurant. I wasn't outside listening in where there's, you know, all kinds of cars and trucks and, you know, people walking. It was a quiet restaurant in a table in the back, and I was listening, trying to listen in if I could hear what the doctor was telling my friend.
Oh.
And guess what? I could just hear a loud voice, but I couldn't make out one thing that the person said.
Oh.
And I'm sitting in a quiet restaurant. So I don't understand how all these people that were sitting around a table heard what the president was talking about to this gentleman. So
Or things can be taken out of context too. I mean, you may have heard something and assumed that something else was said, you know, because what, do you have total recall? We don't know. Right. And do you feel that it's only one-sided, that just, you know, that the Democrats have come and called witnesses that they know will be more partial to their side than the Republicans? I mean, how do you feel about that?
yeah, because they had professors from the law school, and 3 out of the 4 professors did not like him from previous occasions or what have you, and they made up their mind that he was guilty, and they were supposed to just to be there to relate the law and what the law is about. And they said, oh, he's guilty, he's guilty, he's guilty. And there was one professor that was there, and I'll have to look up the names of these professors. I think I have it on one of these papers that I brought in. And if I can find it, I will I'll talk to you about it. But one of them that said that that this wasn't a strong enough crime, that they could not. Here they are. Noah Feldman from Harvard Law School, Pamela Karlan, Stanford Law School. These are all professors. Michael Gerhardt, University of North Carolina, and Jonathan Turley of George Washington University Law School. Everyone was, you know, they felt that, you know, that he should be impeached, except for Jonathan Turley, because he felt that the case for impeachment couldn't be made, and it can't be made on this record. And Jonathan Turley got, from the law school, people started, they surrounded his house, surrounded his office, all the students, and they were bullying him after this inquiry. And so even free speech, you know, he was trying to be, you know, at least he didn't make a decision. He just felt there was not enough evidence, and the students didn't like what he had to say, and he was bombarded with bullying all over the place,
Oh.
in his school, in his classroom, in his office, and in his home.
That is very unfair that he cannot speak his mind. And coming from, being a law professor, he's just citing what he feels is law.
Yes, and one of the professors, Pamela Karlan, she was mentioning Trump's teenage son, Barron, and she was kind of making fun of his name, the Baron. Of course, Trump would name him the Baron, and here they brought in somebody, and it's not, and they said that that it's an unwritten written thing from Washington's rule against dragging first families' children into politics. It's been a rule for many of the other families. You didn't hear President Obama's family dragged in, or President Clinton's, or President, Bush's family, and they were making fun of Barron Trump, which was, a young teenage boy, which I thought was most unfortunate, and that wasn't very professional of a law professor doing something like that.
No, I agree with you, absolutely. Yeah, you should stick to what they're there for.
Right.
Right.
And so, as far as impeachment, I think, what was it like, maybe Thanksgiving? I know we were at our Thanksgiving table, we said we would not talk politics. And a lot of tables they did.
Yeah,
and
we
people,
didn't
because we didn't
at
want
all.
people to start fighting one another.
Throwing the turkey and dressing.
Turkey and dressing and throwing the salad at each other.
Yeah.
Well, it becomes a very hostile, environment.
Yeah, I don't
So,
think
yes.
these are impeachable things that he did, actually. I used to be a Democrat. I'm more of an independent now. And I think he's done a lot of good things, Trump, but it's just the way he handles himself and talks to people. I think that is not a good idea. I mean, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He's not, he doesn't have the same rhetoric that President Obama had. He was a constitutional law professor.
But Obama didn't do very much either as far as that goes. But of course, the Republicans stopped him too quite a bit. That's true. But when he was in the Senate, he never even voted.
He voted present.
Yeah,
Voted present.
exactly.
He never voted upon an issue,
No, he
at least
leave.
according to the record that I can
Yeah,
recall.
that's what I've heard too.
But his
Yes.
rhetoric was fine. Where President Trump is more, well, I don't want to say it, but more blue collar. He, even though his family was very well to do, he comes from a construction
Yeah, and
background.
having money doesn't stop you from being a blue collar.
Yeah, and he kind of talks truck driver talk.
Very
I hope we don't get
direct.
bombarded by truck drivers.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
very
tells-
direct.
He tells
doesn't-
what he thinks.
Absolutely, which
Yeah.
is not always appropriate.
No,
and,
he doesn't think
in
about
many
it.
circumstances inappropriate
Yes.
or politically correct.
Yeah, but all these countries, that we have money for this, because because it was Ukraine and he held back some of the money, but then he didn't hold back the money. I mean, maybe within a short time he did not hold back the money. But the thing is, why are these countries so dependent on, why are we financing all these countries? Why are we the money bags, of the country, Daddy Warbucks? What are they, little orphan Annies? I mean, why do we have to finance all their stuff?
They're happy to take our money, but they talk against us,
Exactly. I mean, why should we have to, it isn't our job to, if they want to buy, things from us, if they want to buy our airplanes, if they want to buy missiles, or, fine, we could sell them. And, buy.
But why are we financing with tremendous amounts of hundreds of millions of dollars and many times billions of dollars?
Trillions.
Billions
Millions
and
and
trillions
trillions,
of
not even-
financial aid.
Yeah, why
Right.
are we giving that? I mean, I could see where countries, where people are starving, and all the countries should help out. But the Ukrainians aren't starving. Why are we supplying them with everything? And then we get blamed. There's so much corruption in these Eastern European countries. I mean, we don't know who's, 1 minute one person's our allies, and the next minute somebody else is our allies. And like you said, they keep talking about us like we were, like we're fools or something.
Yeah.
And why are we supplying them with any money anyway?
I know this is a different thing, but one of my neighbors, they don't even know what's going on. She says, "Isn't the United States great? They've taught Israel everything they know about technology, and we're giving them all our money." She says something like that.
No, I think
People
Israel, I
believe
think it's the
that.
other way around.
I know, it's exactly
Yes.
the other way around.
Yeah, Israel at least supplies a lot of technology and medical
And medical-
technology,
Medical research
And
supplies.
medical help
supplies
to
and-
people that are
and-
against them.
and most of our phones are, parts are made from
Yeah, we
Israel and
teach
discovered.
them everything in
That's a different,
technology,
but
she
like
says.
Ukraine,
I know, it's
what
so
have they, what are they giving
I,
us?
And
I
a
don't
lot
know
of
enough
people-
to make an
I
informed
don't
decision
either.
either
But
way because
mean,
I
a
really
lot of-
don't know on that.
A lot of people
Yes.
believe that here.
But if they're, they're mixed up, if they had anything to do with, mixed up with corruption and everything, I think the president had every right to check out what's, all the corruption. And then there's, in fact, we're talking about Joe Biden, but his son was making $50,000
About
$1,000 a
$50,000 a
month?
month.
Yeah.
For what?
Right, with
Yeah.
absolutely no background in
Right.
that field.
Right.
Right.
So, why couldn't he, check it out? I mean, before we give all this big bucks, millions and trillions of dollars to these countries, we should check out what's going on, and who, are they really our friends, or why do they want so much of our money,
Well, there have been, prior problems, like with Haiti, America gave so much money, and it turns out, the people who needed it
Didn't get it.
didn't get
No,
it.
no.
No,
True.
they didn't get it. The people that are starving, it's taken over by the prime ministers in their country,
Right.
and the presidents or whatever.
And it's designated a chain of command, and then they, filtered all their cuts from everything. So very, very little of that money actually went
goes to the
to
people
the
that
people
really
who
need
really
it.
need it, right?
And-
From
Yeah,
emergencies
and what are they going to
typhoons
do if
or
they turn on us?
earthquakes.
Look what happened just recently. We were training Saudi Arabian on our technology in one of the military bases, and we're training them. And look, and one turned, and he became like an ISIS terrorist right in the middle of the group, and he shot a lot of the people from the, I think it was a Navy, if I'm pretty sure, a naval base. I mean, you can't just train these people, give them money, and do everything else, and then they turn on us.
Yeah.
Right. Even if they've been vetted and vetted and vetted, you don't know what somebody is thinking. If they're a rationalized, terrorist of some way,
Right.
that they've been,
True.
changed. I mean, we don't know. And people have a good way of covering things up, too. You're a psychologist. And,
Right.
people know how to answer to certain
Right,
questions.
and we were training them militarily. I mean, why do they, we're supposed to be giving money to Ukraine because we're protecting them so Russia doesn't take over, more of their country or what have you. Who knows? Maybe they're in cahoots with them. Maybe, we don't know.
We don't know.
And so for the president to check something out, and now he's considered that was a terrible thing that he does, so therefore he's impeached. There was other presidents, that I had that checked out things as well. In fact, President Obama, that includes President Obama, when he asked Dmitry Medvedev to tell Putin to go easy on missile defense until after the 2012 election. He wasn't that, if it was Trump that did it, he would be impeached immediately.
Oh, right.
Absolutely, you're right.
Bill Clinton, when he vacuumed foreign campaign contributions, something in 1996, or Hillary Clinton in 2016, when her campaign finance, Christopher Steele, spread Russian disinformation on Mr. Trump on the media, and that's what they're going to be talking about in the FBI. But all presidents have a right to, they have to check it out, or reveal, reveal things. And I mean, that's part of the president's job, to make sure, they could take back the money or whatever. So these countries think we owe them. We owe them, and we don't.
We don't. No.
Right. And then what exactly, when you do give these hundreds of millions of dollars, billions or trillions, I mean, what are there any stipulations? Is there anything that needs to be followed? Any certain procedures? Or is it just, I don't know how that works. Has anybody done any research on that?
As far as
Like,
if they follow through.
right, if they follow through, that this has to be designated to go here and there and that, and and then what happens if there's a change of administration during that time that the money is given? Then what happens then?
See, because this was a new president, and he
Right.
wanted to make sure that this guy was on the up and up.
Because that's what worried me
last
too,
one-
right.
The last one on Ukraine was taking money, like you said,
Right.
he was in corruption. So to check out somebody, I mean, if you're giving somebody a couple of $1,000s, that's one thing. But
Yeah.
you're giving them
Millions,
trillions,
yeah,
millions,
trillions,
and trillions,
trillions.
and giving them our missiles and all kinds of. You know,
Right.
you got to check it out.
Yeah,
And
not
then
just
you-
hand it over,
And so, and I couldn't understand how many people could be on one telephone call.
I know, I heard that too.
I don't know, ask Israel, they know that.
Yeah, I don't get it. Everybody, how would you like if 25 people are listening in on our phone call? This is really, really funny.
Uh-huh. I mean, what are your thoughts of everything being the whistleblower initially being, kept secret, and what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are that I think there's no such, I don't think there was a whistleblower. I think it was just one of the, maybe it was maybe Adam Schiff or one of the other people that just made up that it was a whistleblower. My feeling is that was a made up thing. Maybe there was a whistleblower, but so he was number 27 on the telephone call. The whistleblower. I mean, that's kind of crazy. And then you can't even, and then, Adam Schiff says he doesn't even know anything. How could he not know who the whistleblower is? And he made the whole case about the whistleblower. So it doesn't make
I know,
any
I was
sense.
very perplexed listening to that how much credence is given to anonymity, that you don't know or will not know. And I'm sorry if I missed it, but did the whistleblower ever actually give testimony?
To somebody.
But nothing is, we don't know.
But everyone says they don't know who the whistleblower
Right,
is.
I know.
So he had to
I mean-
give testimony to somebody, him or her. We don't know if
We
it's a
don't-
male or
right,
female.
we don't know, right.
Or it was just a made-up thing.
Could be.
Right.
Yeah, that's
very
what I
true.
think it's made up.
Now that you mention it, I think
I
so
don't think
too.
I personally don't even think there is a whistleblower. I would kind of be surprised if there was, But everyone that came out against him, maybe they were all the whistleblowers. All these people that said they were on the telephone call.
27 of them.
27
Whistleblowers.
people listening in on one's telephone call. And he actually had the transcript of the phone call.
Well, maybe they were in one room and it was a microphone,
I don't
and they heard it.
It-
on
well,
a
it must have
speaker.
been-
a loudspeaker.
Everybody's on audio video surveillance, so it was obviously recorded.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And he knows he's being recorded. I mean, if you're a president, there's other people on the telephone call, so you're not going to, you're not going to say things that, hopefully you don't say something, but, Blagojevich did. He said something and incriminated him and got how many years?
14
years.
But he didn't
for
even
his
do
telephone.
it. He didn't even do it, and he went to
Right,
jail. He
never
just said
sold,
it.
Right, he said it and he never sold the seat and got 14 years.
Yes,
How could you-
children grew up and everything. Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible. I mean, on a phone call, and this is the same thing. I mean, they kind of got him.
Yeah. They wanted to teach other people a lesson, they said.
Yeah.
Right,
well, that's-
absolutely. So how do you think this is going to play out?
Well, I think
mean, as we hear, we don't know.
Well,
'cause
my
it's
feeling how it's
December
going to play
17th,
out
right.
is this. The next president, who will be Democrat, no matter what he says or what he does, or if he whispers in on his phone call, 1,000 people be listening.
He
and
or she, I just
he or
wanted to
she-
interject. We
he
don't
or
know. There's a
she
lot of,
then the Republicans will ask for an impeachment. So I think what we're going to hear is impeachment, impeachment.
Yeah, from
So
now
we'll
on.
never hear about bridges getting fixed, rapid transportation or anything in our country getting done, because the
Or
next
the wall being built.
or the wall being built or whatever, you're going to just hear about impeachment, because they're going to go after the next president who's Democrat. They will find
Why do
something
you
to
think
impeach.
it'll be Democrat? Many people think Trump will get in again.
Well, I'm saying
If.
if he doesn't get in,
Oh.
or if he does get in, and then the next time around,
Oh, right.
after in the next election, 2024,
Right, okay,
you
yeah.
get a Democrat.
Yeah, they
in,
take turns.
All you're going to hear about is impeachment,
Impeachment,
because
yeah.
they're going to do the same thing. You know, it's getting back time.
Well, in your opinion, how can this be resolved?
How do you think? What do y'all think about getting resolved? Is there?
I just think there's
was
too much. There's Democrats, and then there's
The
Republicans.
Senate's probably not going to vote
And,
for it.
and you can't go against the party. The party will then, bye-bye. That's you're gone.
Right.
I mean, what happened to an independent who goes with what they believe in
Yeah.
and not following party strategy, party unity?
I think we need a third party, an independent party.
Yeah, you were
The
talking
other
about
part,
that.
yeah, we were talking about that earlier, and I think that's what we need. We need more independence, because, all the Democrats say one thing, all the Republicans are saying. So when it gets into the Republican Senate, it's going to be voted against. So he'll,
Right.
yeah.
So the problem with an independent is that they, to get into the elective office, they have to have a party. So it either is, a libertarian party,
Right.
or which they don't do
didn't
that well.
There was
It's
somebody
Democrat or Republican. I
few
mean, you could be
years ago.
leaning Democrat independent, you could be Republican leaning independent, but you still have to declare.
Yeah, there's no independent thing. There's only a few.
Right.
And I'm wondering how many Democrats they said there's a couple of Democrats that are not going to vote against it because they're afraid they're going to lose their next election. So they're doing it because, of course, of themselves again. But I think that's what, that's what's happening. So I think you're right. We need another party. I think we're the only country, as far as I know, that only has two parties.
Wasn't somebody running from another party quite a few years ago?
Yeah, the Green Party.
Yeah.
Green Party, they
Yeah,
didn't-
and they
yes.
didn't seem to get
They didn't- no.
anywhere.
Yeah,
No.
they didn't
Yeah,
seem to get anywhere.
and they
yeah.
felt that they only took votes away from one of the parties.
Absolutely. Any thoughts on the way this is being handled by Nancy Pelosi?
Oh,
Well-
I don't think she's handling it good.
Well, she could go up against him.
You know, her.
She's not afraid.
I don't know why it hasn't come out, but her own son had a job with the
doesn't she have
Ukrainian.
daughters?
Yes, he has a job with the Ukrainians.
not know that.
No, a lot of
I
people
didn't
don't know
either.
that. Yeah, her son has a job. It has a
Oh,
whole
really?
thing, but that hasn't come out. Well, we're first on the View.
Breaking news!
Breaking news on the
news
View.
on the View.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
check that
We
out.
should be in the
Nancy-
newspaper
Yeah,
or on
Nancy
a
Pelosi's
different
company.
TV program.
Yeah, maybe that's why all these people, they have their sons or daughters or what working for the Ukrainians. Let's get, so that it doesn't come out.
They
but
pay better.
They pay better. Yeah, you can get 50. Why are we doing this program? We get work for the Ukrainians and get $50,000 a month.
Yeah, right.
And you get paid in U.S. dollars or Canadian money?
We want you.
How about oil? We'll take oil.
Yeah, I know our show's getting to the close of our show, but
Yes.
But I really, it's nice to talk to, women listening, because most of the time you hear about, men's views on, what's going on, and we haven't heard too many views from women.
No, not at
And
all.
we'd like to hear more views from women on this, on the Ukrainian problem and the more so the the impeachment and what is the evidence, and it's nice to talk about this with other women, because you don't always hear about this.
Absolutely.
That
But as
is
we hear,
true.
I just want to say it was December 17th, 2019, so we don't know what's going to happen,
Right.
but everything is forthcoming, and, it's every day there's something different going on.
Yes, and,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
that's what's kind of nice about this, that we could talk about it, and it's going to come back again. Everything that we say here will come back to haunt, even though it's in December. We're going to hear about it in January,
Oh, for
February.
sure.
It's
Until
going to come back.
election, like-
And oh my goodness, and if he wins again, they're going to be talking about impeachment again.
Right.
I wonder if
Oh,
you can-
yeah,
can you
all
get
over
impeached?
again.
Can you get impeached After
More than one.
Is there a double jeopardy for impeachment?
We'll have to find out about that.